Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy MORDIN. All African games, let's talk about it. I know it's been a while, but I would be selective with what I talk about these days. I think it makes sense for me and my sanity. So I want to talk about the All African Games or the African Games, right? It just ended, and Team Ghana did very well to be ranked sixth after all the countries that came through. It's quite an amazing thing. Now, I know on Twitter and in the entertainment space, all that is being talked about is the opening and closing ceremonies. Um, but in general, I think we can take a few positives from there. Of course, I'm going to touch on Shatta Wale versus Stonebwoy, Wiyala, Kim Promise, and all that topic, right? I have my own say on those things as well. But let's dive into a much important scope. I think that might help us going forward, right? Now, Ghana has become a place where a lot of talents are being wasted, a lot of dreams are being shattered. But I think this game, if not for anything at all, is teaching us that we can open up the sporting area for a lot of young people out there to repurpose and to use their time validly for everything that they dream or aspire to be, right? Um, Especially now that we have all these facilities, the Lagos Stadium, the one at Boteman, and all the other stuff. No, the main question is that how do we create like yearly events that would bring along all the schools, the secondary schools, and all that kind of stuff, and grow champions, where we can say that every year we have the Ghana Athletics, whatever, or the Ghana Games, where we do boxing, we do athletics, we do football, we do everything, right? Where different people will compete, and from there we can select people for our main national teams, basketball, football, handball, volleyball, whatsoever it is, right? So that we can compete highly in in the Olympics and any other competition that is out there in the world existing for Ghana to be part of, right? I think time and time again we've tied ourselves to football, and it has been the norm that football has been the only thing, or is the only thing, that propels Ghana. But in recent times, we've seen that it's only the younger ones that do well. I mean, the biggest laurel any football team has brought to Ghana in recent times has been the under 20s, captained by Dede Ayew when they won the World Cup. It was a good thing, but since then, one would think that okay, just putting the same team together and adding a few best talents to it can push Black Stars to a different level. But Black Stars has become more like a business entity where people just go in there to take money, not necessarily make the business grow, but to take money, siphon funds, and use it as their power play to lure people in for whatsoever agendas they have, right? So I think going forward, we can privatize this whole sector and give it out to event organizations that are ready to put yearly events into place, where to be maybe dubbed the Ghana Games, where you would see that gradually secondary schools are taking interest in playing the sports and being part and repurposing our abilities and dreams and all that kind of stuff right in there. That is one thing I'll say about all these All African Games and what I actually think about it, right? When it comes to it, Ghanaians are down for any and everything, right? You just have to package it well and push it to the right people. That is what I think. But let's talk about, I know in some circles, people are talking about the promotion of the whole thing and the performances, Shatta Wale, Stonebwoy, and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to say one thing right here. When it comes to performance, the number one of the topmost performers we have in Ghana, is Wiyala, hands down. No one comes close to Wiyala in and out of Ghana. Wiyala has rounded her game in that if you've seen her perform on stages outside of Ghana, you will know what I'm talking about. Wiyala is not a child's play when it comes to performers in Ghana, right? Wiyala stands tall on her own, like live band, whatsoever, stagecraft. She puts things well, but it's like when you're coming from up north, you are secluded from anything Ghana, right? Nationalism only dwells in and around Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, the big cities, and then we just leave it as it is. But it shouldn't be, right? There are several amazing talents elsewhere that when we push the focus on the conversation on, it will always take us very far, right? Now, let me talk about the Stonebwoy, Shatta Wale, blah blah blah. Now, um, it is quite interesting, right? When you look for the numbers game for the All African Games, I think because they didn't have enough promotion, they thought it as much that hey, the only person that can bring us that traction for people to generate interest in the games is going to be Shatta Wale, which did, right? Irrespective of how you look at it, the negativity that surrounded Shatta Wale's performance is what came along with one single name. Anywhere you mention Shatta Wale during that time, you will add the African Games to it. Anytime you mention Shatta Wale, you will add the African Games to it. And gradually, people started seeing performances by other sectors. So you go to the boxing, you go to the athletics, Azamati, and all these other guys, right? Gradually, people started focusing on the game. So I think the selection of Shatta Wale to open the game was the best thing that could have happened to the whole event, right? If you understand promotion and how it may be, sometimes you may not do it well from the start, but you can position yourself for to grab the attention when needed, right? Now, when you look at that whole set also, there was something that happened that I think usually goes a long way to harm us. You know, Kim Promise gave in an amazing performance, but then we singled Shatta Wale out, which, of course, for the magnitude of who Shatta Wale is, you can never say some things will go quiet, but we can give an even playing field to everybody else. For Shatta Wale, I know Shatta Wale will be sitting down and saying that I just performed amazingly. Kim Promise did perform amazingly, and we could have lifted these two artists out for everybody to see what Ghana has, right? But at the end of the day, negativity, because my favorite is not there. Let me quote unquote shit on the other person, right? And by so doing, we kill the vibe of what Kim Promise. See, arguably in the last 3 years or so, one of the topmost artists out of Ghana has been Kim Promise. Nobody can doubt that. The guy is good. With even the little downtime he had with the whole Wizkid issue about the stadium performance and all that kind of stuff, Kim Promise has come back like amazingly. When it comes to acts in Ghana, currently, when you take Black Hole, like enterprising artists that are coming up and springing up in the last 3 years, come on, man. You can never mention your top 3 artists that are doing it good now and exclude Kim Promise. I mean, you can't do it unless maybe you are not actually looking at the game and how it is going. You get it, but instead of just dwelling on negativities and trying to push Shatta Wale down and saying that yeah, he's not my favorite, and so I have to excuse my language, shit on him because I have other people to push to the forefront. Now listen, now that Stonebwoy performed and Stonebwoy wasn't allowed to do a live band set, I think now our brains, or the brains of those who always chastise anything Shatta Wale, will now be like, oh, okay, so there were a set of rules. There were things that these organizers really had in mind that they wanted portrayed on the whole show or the whole event, right? I think even journalism now has become more of chasing after what bloggers are doing. You know, bloggers, people open their private places like my channel right now, and I talk about what I want to talk about, right? However, when you go into journalism proper, with media houses and all that, it has to do with research, it has to do with public opinion, a lot of different facets, because you know, you have the machinery to change the narratives of a lot of people, right? Because of your landscape and what you guys do. That is why you are there to inform, educate, right? And most importantly, when you put out information out there, people believe you because you are the media. But today, it's sad to see that the media has just become another blog post, like any other persons that are not trained, you know, to do that job. So you don't see any difference. People just carry sentiments and go out there and talk about people anyhow they want, simply because they have a microphone to do so, you know. And it takes a lot, I mean, to have integrity, to be able to talk about things and not dwelling on what your personal likes are and what is not. Shatta Wale did amazing on the opening day. Stonebwoy did amazing on the closing ceremony, and I think this is what we need as a people. These are the things that come on to help boost our image as Ghanaians, right? It's not about who does it well and who doesn't. It's about pushing Ghana, because where we are right now, come on, we need to push Ghana in a better light. You get it? A lot of things are going wrong. The country is becoming difficult. Looks like our leaders are not paying attention to anything that we are doing or asking them to do. The roads are getting bad by the day. Things are becoming increasingly expensive, and it's like everybody that you know around you is not trustworthy anymore. We can't even trust the very closest person that is to us. That is how bad the nation has become. And so things that unify us should be things that draw us closer to repurpose our thoughts, into directions of productivity, into directions of nation growing. And I think we should do a lot of this, and it's gonna help us. This is just my take on the All African Games. Shatta Wale did well. I love Shatta Wale, and I will always talk about him any opportunity I get and all that kind of stuff, because I think he's someone who is not understood by a lot of people. That guy is super intelligent. The fact that he wears his heart on the sleeves doesn't mean that when you see him flare out there, that is what he is, or that is who he is as a person, right? He fights for what he believes in, and for that you should always give him kudos for everything, right? But when you look at things that are being done, again, Wiyala put out an amazing and splendid performance. Is it because of the fracas between Shatta Wale and Stonebwoy? We are going to overlook that and say that let's jump at it. Stonebwoy, Shatta Wale, who is better, right? And leave Wiyala there. But this is something we need to push. Everything. Do not forget, All African Games is going out there in the entire African continent, right? And I'm sure whatever we push out there is what our image becomes. You get it? So yeah, let me know what you think about this whole thing in the comment section below, and I'll see you another time. Peace out.